Hey guys, in this video, break down simple AI SEO automation workflows so that way you can supercharge your work. So I'm gonna cover things from keyword research to reporting all the way to content creation, and then break down exactly how to build this step by step. But I've also linked in the description the templates to this. So if you just want to copy the templates based on the workflows that you would see in this video, feel free to download it in the description below. So in this first workflow, you're going to need Claude. So it's going to be more of a keyword research where you can pretty much hypercharge your research instead of, doing it manually. So you can use AI to pretty much help you with this. So the first thing you're going to need is obviously number one, Claude, but then number two, Ahrefs. So with Ahrefs, you're able to set up a MCP with Ahrefs and integrate it through the connectors. So you can see here, I have an Ahrefs symbol here. So the way pretty much you're going to set it up is you're going to click on Manage Connectors, add custom connector, name it Ahrefs, and then within the remote MCP server realm, we're going to copy in this exact structure. So it's going to be api.ahrefs.com/mcp/mcp. So once you do set this up and integrate it, it's going to pretty much open another window that's going to pretty much confirm your login, login confirmations. So then after that, you're just going to pretty much confirm it. And then once you do confirm it, you're going to be able to have this custom integrator with Ahrefs. So within the configuration as well too, there's multiple tools within here. So you can pretty much do that, like analysis, like a domain overview analysis, pretty much in depth, like do keyword explorer. If you want to break down like the overall rankings in comparison to competitors, you can do that as well too. So there's a lot of different workflows you could use this for in terms of like overall research where you can do within Ahrefs and then just automate it within Claude. So let me show you like a really good example. So let's do something like a SaaS SEO consultant and want to build more topical authority in this space. Please conduct keyword research with the Ahrefs. Cool. So let's make sure where you are prompting it, you call it. So like you're mentioning, do keyword research with Ahrefs tool and find relevant keywords, and let's say structure to pillar/sub pillar topics I can use to create content. So I wrote, I'm a SaaS SEO consultant and want to build more topical authority within this space. Please conduct keyword research within Ahrefs tool and find relevant keywords and structure them into a pillar/sub pillar topics I can use to create content. So boom, once we've integrate this, Claude is going to do its thing, and then pretty much going to use that Ahrefs MCP database. So it's going to act as like a RAG system. So you can see here, it ran through a lot of the different instances and went through, pretty much found a lot of data to work with. So it came back with an pretty cool pillar/sub pillar content. So for the main pillar, so we have the main pillar page targeting SaaS SEO, which is really broad. It also breaks down the exact searches a month. And then based on that main pillar, it also pretty much created sub pillars. So that way you're creating a lot of topical authority throughout that, your most relevant targeted keywords where your ICP would be searching for. So it did also a SaaS SEO versus traditional SaaS differences. Didn't really break that down, but it also broke down B2B SaaS SEO strategy guide targeting specific keyword for B2B SaaS industry. And then it also did SaaS SEO service provider content, how to choose a SaaS SEO agency. Then it broke down sub-pillars within this, did a lot of pretty good content. Some of this is pretty redundant, but again, this is a really good way to find a lot of different idea strategies. So we also have SaaS SEO strategy and planning. This main pillar page looks really good. I think that this is probably like the best pillar, to be honest. And then because it's giving a lot of really good high quality sub-pillar pages. So talking about SaaS keyword research, 250 searches a month, SaaS content strategy. I think this can pretty much go hand in hand together. SaaS SEO audit, checklist, technical SEO. So a lot of relevant keywords to pretty much help you find relevant topics and build upon that. I'm going to show you something, pretty much another use case you can use that's pretty cool. So I asked it to break down the backlink profile for my website and create a visual. So again, you can pretty much create a visual as well with like the whatever type of research you want to do using the Ahrefs data system in general. So you could have asked it to create like these pillar pages and more of a visual, or create more like a content calendar based on this. But what I did is I asked it to really pretty much just break down the backlink profile for this. So my site, so it pretty much broke down exactly and give like critical issues, current profile breakdown. So we can see here as well, like what are the top referring domains, and then strategic priorities you can do. So like it's pretty much highlighting the lost links, and then also build default authority, diversity link types, pretty much giving you a lot of different feedback on what you can do for the approach. But again, it breaks down all of your backlink profile. So like what's your current domain rating, how many total backlinks you have, how many referring domains, and then also the link loss rate. But then it also gives you more of like a graph of like, what type of DR URLs are linking back to you. So again, pretty good, awesome visual. So you can probably, create something similar for like your clients, and then also gives you, the link type breakdowns, which is pretty awesome. And then it seems like the traffic sources isn't pretty much working, and then link acquisition timeline. But again, I also broke down the top referring domains by authority, giving you a breakdown on that as well too. But again, pretty cool. That way you can sort of just like automate some of your workflows, or just get a little bit more ideas based on the prompt. And obviously the more in-depth your prompting is, the more better output you would get regarding this. All right, next I'm gonna break down another workflow that you can do within Claude utilizing NAN. So what I did is I've pretty much connected NAN through Claude. So the way you do this is you go to manage connectors, browse connectors, you can search for NAN. Once that pops up, it's going to ask for a specific URL. So that specific URL is they're going to be asking for is once you create the instance level MCP. So then once you click connect, it's going to pretty much give you a URL to connect to and paste it in. So then once you do paste it in, it's going to pretty much verify the connections between the two. And then that way you're pretty much able to prompt Claude to use NAN. So a pretty cool configuration I did is I've configured the Google Analytics to my MCP through a workflow from NAN. So let me show you a pretty cool example. So if I go to one of my workflows, okay, so this specific workflow, what it does, it's pretty much uses an MCP server trigger. So this MCP server trigger, if I copy the URL, I can also create a new customized connector. So within this customized connector, I've named it pretty much similar way you set up the Ahrefs one. So if you add custom connector, name it, and then paste in the MCP server URL based on the workflow that you have. So in this case, you'd use a production URL and paste it in. Anytime you prompt it and call it, it's going to pretty much utilize these three HTTP requests. So these HTTP requests are set up through Google Analytics. So the way this is set up is you need to go to Google Console. So the way you set up the Google Analytics API is you need to set up through Google Console Cloud, go through API services, and then once you do that, you can go to every single different API. So you have the Google Drive API, Google Analytics API, and then Google Search Console API. So once you do set that up, you're pretty much gonna use the setup of this URL. So you're gonna have pretty much all its properties. You need to find the property ID, then you would place it within there and then run report. So in this case, I did a get overview of finding the last 14 days versus previous period, and then also the last pretty much month over month. And the metrics it's pulling is sessions, event counts, key events, bounce rate, etc. And then pretty much the value, what I'm trying to look for here is like organic search. So how much impact did it had specifically within, search engine optimization efforts. Then we also have the getting landing pages. So what are the top performing landing pages in this case with the same overall metrics? And then also the trend that we're seeing based on this. So it's comparing it to the previous period as well. So this has up-to-date data where you can pretty much use this MCP workflow to ask for reports in that end. So I currently have it set to pretty much from the date from today to the last 3 months versus the previous period, but you can always update the start date in comparison to the end period as like pretty much how far back or however you want it. You can do like year over year if you want, but I just have it set to last 3 months versus previous period, so that way I can just look over from more of like a quarter perspective. But again, you can always come in here and update the dates comparison ranges to whatever you're liking. So what I did is I asked for, please give me a report on Centria within the last 14 days versus previous period, and then also create a separate report within the last 28 days. So it pulled all the data from Google Analytics and broken it down to me. So within the last 14 days, it pretty much gives me an overview of what's the organic sessions and how that change is doing. So, and it also gives you an overview as to why. So obviously this one client saw a drop because of the holiday period, which is expected. It's not the seasonality, they're not e-commerce. And then also gives you an overview from the last 28 days. Again, still within the holiday season. So again, they don't really have much visibility within that end, but it would be like a really good comparison to probably see like how they're performing year over year. So maybe going back and updating the workflow to look at from a year over year perspective. But again, it pretty much breaks down everything. So it breaks down the sessions we're seeing. Again, this is all from organic search. We can break down the events, conversions, bounce rate, average session duration, etc. And then it also breaks down what are the top landing pages within the current period. So we can see here, it broke that down, plus with the conversions in general. And then you can also ask it to pretty much break it down for the top landing pages. So we can say, give me a breakdown of the top landing pages in the last 20 days versus previous period. So then it pretty much is going through all of these URLs and then pretty much giving you a breakdown of like the conversion rate in comparison. So like the About Us saw an increase in conversions, but then also broke down the changes in sessions. So again, this can give you really, really key insights into your analytics and pretty much gives you really great breakdowns as to why you're seeing a decrease. And again, you can also ask it to please create a visual graph based on the data of the last 28 days versus previous period. So I asked it to pretty much create a visual graph within the last 28 days versus previous period. So it came with this really cool, pretty much dashboard on how everything's performing from even like a visual perspective, where you can see like a lot of like the fluctuations in terms of different landing pages. You can also look at from like how conversions are performing, key insights as well here, the conversion rate in general. So these are like pretty insane graphics that you can use for you or your clients when you're creating this in general too. So pretty cool insights, and this can definitely supercharge a lot of your reporting, especially since, if you're doing like a lot of manual reporting. All right, so for the last automation we're doing is going to be a content automation. So this would help you streamline the creation of your content. Obviously, regardless that it's written and, really hyper personalized and research driven content, it still needs to be human reviewed and human edited. Because again, it's made from AI. You shouldn't 100% automate everything. But this again will help you streamline and create the gap when it comes to that. So we're gonna start. It starts off with a chat when received. So once you do create, I'll go through step-by-step guide in creating this. But once you do create this chat node when receive message, pretty much it's gonna be your target main keyword. So once you have it, it's gonna automate through that. So the second node is creating a HTTP request for SERP API. So it's going to pretty much use SERP API to conduct a lot of the researches. So then we're going to have the chat input, which is going to include the keyword that we implemented. And then pretty much you need to set this up with your API for SERP API. So for the next node is pretty much mapping out the URLs. So it's pretty much going to pull all the URLs from your SERP pretty much scrape. And then we have it for like top 5. You can obviously change this if you want to pull in a little bit more of the top rated results for the keyword you're searching for. Right now I just have top 5 results, and then it would map out all these URLs based on title, URL, etc. So once it gets mapped out, I'm pretty much looping one by one every single URL that have been pulled. So in this case, 5 of them. So I'm implementing an HTTP request. So I'm getting the URL for each 5 of these pages. Then what I'm doing is I'm pretty much extracting the HTML. So this is pulling all the content within all 5 of the pages, which would power your pretty much competitive content gap analysis. So then once that's pulled, it goes through a loop over with pretty much just extracting, cleaning the content. So that way it's, pretty easy to see like the overall body text in general, and then the source URL. So once that goes through that, pretty much goes through another code node, which pretty much concentrates all 5 into one overall pretty much text. So it's combining all 5 competitors' top 5 results in general. And then also giving us the keyword here for reference that we put in. And then once it pretty much goes through is an AI agent. So through this AI agent, it's pretty much really in depth where pretty much we're getting the keyword and then we're trying to instruct it for in this case, my website specifically. So we're consolidating a lot of the scraped data. So we're feeding this prompt targeted keyword, which is the initial keyword that we inputted. And then it's showing all the scraped content from the top 5 ranking pages into one combined text for more context. And then pretty much we're breaking down step-by-step analysis of like what, the content overview, pretty much break that down into like an overview, look at the semantic keyword analysis. So where are the, relevant semantic keywords throughout the text for all 5 of the content pieces. So like we're looking at from, LSI keywords, long tail keywords mentioned, any secondary keywords and supporting terms. And then we're pretty much adding it to a keyword clustering. So, putting it through a thematic cluster and identified which keyword clusters are heavily covered and then which are lightly touched. So pretty much we're trying to see a content gap where the top 5 or whatever if you want to do top 10, whatever you see fit, where's the overall gap in between all these top 5 content. And then pretty much breaks down by key insights and findings. So then again, it goes through the overall gap, formats gaps, any freshness gaps, goes through different type of research in general. So really, really in depth, goes through your ICP as well. And then also goes through any recommendations in general. So once that goes through the summarized content, and pretty much for the chat model I'm using 4.1 mini, then it goes through a research and validation phase. So this is extremely important. So it's a really huge prompt. Pretty much, again, it's going through the topic, keyword, summarized content. So typically when people write with ChatGPT, and I experienced this, it's AI helps you write content much more quickly, but it hallucinates a lot. And especially when you're doing like research on like any statistics and stuff like that, it's not up to date. I think it's like 2 years behind. So for this specific step, you need to make sure you're using Perplexity deep research, because this is one of the best models in terms of finding the most up-to-date data in general, where it wouldn't hallucinate as much. So again, you're going to be pulling a lot of data in general, any trends that are extremely new and relevant towards the content piece in general, based on your summarized content or the overall topic and keyword that you have. Then we have this API from Apify where it pretty much scrapes the URLs for your specific sitemap of the website. So we have 3 huge pillars in terms of the content, where it's summarizing, doing the research, and then also building out, aggregating the sitemap for context, put it together within an edit field. So we're adding all this into one. And then for the final step is the content creation. The AI model I'm using here is Claude, because Claude has one of the best outputs for writing. So then you have content creation, which goes really in depth. So we're feeding it the context of the content analysis input we're getting from like the competitors. We're getting the research analysis from deep research, integrating the sitemap, and then we're pretty much going really in depth into creating the content in general, from like content hierarchy, recommending internal links, recommending external links, so on and so forth, and also creating like FAQ sections. So we're covering every single specific key point, key semantic keywords in general, and then automating that. And then it pretty much outputs it into a Google Drive. So if I were to test this, let's say we're trying to link for the keyword SaaS SEO audit, which has about like 100 searches a month. So let me show you exactly how this is gonna run and output. So I gave it a run and pretty much I went through all the process that we went through. Again, this is personalizable. You can change the output to whatever you want, but add it set to a T exactly like the tone and writing style I want for my website and how it's outputting everything. But pretty much after it runs, it goes through Google Drive and then you can open it within a Google Doc. Every hashtag, so this is like marked down. So like one hashtag is H1, two hashtags H2, etc. So after you do get this output, you can structure it accordingly. You can just probably feed it to like ChatGPT or Claude to structure for you. But yeah, pretty good in-depth content with proper heading structure. It also has internal links mentioned within here. Also, again, like external links, and pretty in-depth on different types of key points within the content here. And really good output. Again, you can see here how it's like really correlating and finding the perfect anchor text opportunities based on the internal linking sitemap that you gave it, which is really great. Call to actions, really good. Outreach that works. Okay, we're talking about backlinks. Technical SEO, talking about crawlability, indexation, really good amount of keyword density as well. And then if we scroll down to the bottom, typically you would have the FAQs here as well. So this is going to be good for like answer engine optimization because I'm going to be targeting really key points and it's really well structured for AEO visibility because you have the header as a question and you're answering it immediately after. And this workflow that I have, obviously you still need, again, like I said, you still need to go through all this content, human edit it, but again, it's meant to streamline your process. It gives you meta tag recommendations, meta descriptions, URL slug, and then also image recommendations as well, and like what type of infographics you could be implementing alongside with alt text in general. But yeah, hopefully you guys found value in this video. If you want to work with me in terms of improving your site's SEO visibility or even implementing some of, customized workflows to your SEO strategy for your business as well, there's a link below where you can click and book a discovery call. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, comment if you have any questions, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.